Welcome back to Gears and Glory, everybody. Today we're recapping the Japan Grand Prix. It's me and Liv. Britt, we miss you. Britt's in a long meeting. We know she'd rather be here. Parts.
I need to get my iPad out to film these because I'm so sick of the FOMO that I get from not having these reactions because I'm the only one.
I know. They were glitching out for us the other day. But today we're going to make a pretty straightforward weekend sound way more interesting than maybe it actually was. We'll talk about Yuki versus Liam and a couple of other, two of the other things that happened this weekend. We'll talk about everything because there wasn't that much. So
we're going to spend talking about grass fires.
Yeah. No. Okay. So yeah, let's start with free practice just in the weekend. So the track was resurfaced, blah, 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 whatever. You know, sometimes I'm like, this is so important to know. And then I'm like, it doesn't really make that much of a difference sometimes. No. Depending on, like, there was not a lot of overtaking opportunity. So it was, I know a lot of people described it as just like another Monaco of like qualifying just sets.
But like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Qualifying really matters.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's kind of crazy how sometimes in these races, that's just like the race is over on Saturday because of that.
Literally.
So, but we did have 4 red flags in FP2. FP1, whatever. Yuki did good. Yay. FP1, blah, blah.
Doesn't matter.
FP2, we had 4 red flags, 2 of which, otherwise known as half of them, were grass fires.
That's so insane. And you know what? This weekend drove my mum insane, and when my mum is that opinionated about F1, you know something's wrong.
Something like
why did they just water the grass? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and then they like do, and then they just like is still catching fire.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, crazy. The other big thing that happened in practice was Jack Doohan had a massive 50 Gs crash. That was terrifying.
And you know what? He took so long to get out of the car. I was actually panicking. Like, I think I genuinely got up and started pacing back and forth in my living room. Because Mum was like, oh, he's out, he's fine. I was like, no, Mum, that's like a, what do you call him, a marshal. I was like, that's his helmet, just sitting there, not even moving. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, is he dead? And I was like, you can't say that, first of all. And I was like, second of all, I hope he's just winded.
I know, but it's like, I'm always so shocked because like Max had his really big crash too, like the big one that he had. I'm surprised that they're like, it's not like your brain is not liquefied and melting out your ears after a crash like that, because 50 Gs, like that's just like such a bonkers amount to put your body through. And then he like goes and like races too. Yeah, he must be so, they were saying like he's gonna be sore, he's gonna be hurting.
Yeah. And you know what, it was actually really weird to even hear, like, because even over the radio when he said I'm okay, he didn't sound anywhere near, well, why did I just go Kiwi? Anywhere near as winded as Max did with his massive, like, 51 G crash.
Yeah.
Like, ooh! And Jack was like, okay.
Yeah, and which I guess goes to show, like, how important the halo is, how important all of their seatbelts are, which Isaac Hadjar had many an opinion about his seatbelts, which is very funny because it's just, I just know that you guys are having an uncomfortable downstairs seatbelt situation. Like, everybody knows what that is. The whole of whoever's watching this race now knows your seatbelt is uncomfortable. On your balls, basically.
Unfortunate. Literally.
Yeah, but, like, for the hands device and the helmets and the halo to protect someone so well that they can take a 50G crash and like, yeah, probably be super achy. But he wasn't last.
Last?
Yeah.
Not even a concussion. And I was like...
And I don't know about that.
Scary track for such a scary reminder. Do you know what I mean? Like, this... that's a dumb thing to say, but like, the death that happened at this track is like one of the key reasons that the Halo's creation was really pushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? So like to have that like reminder at this track, a little bit too close to home.
Yeah, you can't write that. It writes itself.
Absolutely. So... And such like, everyone's like, oh wow, he's so shit. How did you crash that? And like, it's so tricky because like, I don't know, maybe I've missed whether it's come out yet or not, but do we know whether the DRS button got stuck on or whether he just didn't turn it off?
I don't know, but I know that it was like when they were, well, they were like, it's a red flag. So they're like just analyzing the crash over and over and over in slow mo, in like a different angle from a different camera. And which is just kind of like such a incredible post-mortem to do in a broadcast situation immediately after it happens. Like that's just kind of crazy as like a broadcast feat. So like, I guess shout out, but like kind of wild to be like, yeah, his brain scrambled. He just took 50 G's of force to the body, generalized force. Like I'm like, it's shocking his like legs aren't in a pretzel. They're so broken.
Let's
But
deliberate.
I don't know what it was, but they were talking about like the little lights, like they were like pointing out like that's how you know that the DRS is open. I don't know if it got stuck or if it was just like didn't press or whatever happened, learning new things.
Yeah.
Not sure.
What I did read is that because obviously Jack Doohan did a lot of like simulator time, especially last season. Obviously, he's an F1 driver now. He still has to do a lot of simulator time. And what I've read is that he was actually fighting Alpine because in his simulator testing, it showed that he should have been able to go through that corner with DRS on. Like he'd practiced it over and over again, and like the data showed he should have been able to do it. Like everyone's fighting over whether he didn't turn DRS off or whether it like malfunctioned and didn't turn off. But I'm also wondering if he just tried to do what he was told from the data he should be able to do.
Yeah.
And the reason it didn't work.
And that would be the most egregious, like, that would be the roughest of them all.
Yeah. So like,
then
what
that
if
means
he
that they're
could get
like,
through?
yeah.
Just split out, like something else went wrong.
Yeah, because then their like sim is broken, like the fundamental data that you get from that. Oh, that's got to be terrifying for the engineers, honestly.
Yeah. That actually, yeah, you know what? Because imagine being like, oh yeah, data shows you can do this, but guess what? You can't, and you can't trust anything from there.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I feel like just like that's why they're still rookies. You can do as much time in a sim, but it's never going to translate 1-to-1.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And there's
yeah, crazy practice. That was like the big thing that happened in practice in any of them. I didn't really take notes for FP3. I said that Lando was at the top of the table, which like, yeah, we know the McLaren is the fastest car. Like,
yeah,
that's not news.
no.
Right. And so then we have this qualifying prior to race, which is basically the race itself, right? Is these flying laps. So yeah, this was when Isaac Hadjar was having a lot of seat issues. He managed to get into Q2, even hopping out of the car and like having adjustments to his seat and everything, which was kind of crazy.
He qualified so well. And
Yeah.
like, this isn't a Liam Lawson hate show. I don't hate the kid. I just hate his attitude, much like Lando's attitude. But like, you know what? He absolutely demolished Liam Lawson. And like, in my brain, this is where my brain sits. Liam Lawson knows that car really well. It's a way better car than Red Bull, so you can't blame the car being shit. He knows that track really well. He raced it nearly how many times in Super Formula? He knows that like his hand. And he still barely out-qualified Yuki Tsunoda. And then his team, who is a rookie, literally with ball sack issues, demolished him. He qualified 7th. Like,
yeah,
that blows my mind. Like, how does that happen? Like, I feel like his confidence has absolutely been trashed by Red Bull.
I mean, I could not recover from that. To just kind of like have to keep going after the team says, actually, you suck and we hate you.
Literally.
Like, and see you never.
The fact that Red Bull demolishes careers, it rarely creates them anymore.
It chews people up and spits them out. It's actually kind of terrifying because it's like and people keep going back because the potential is like you could be the next Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
But
if
I don't know.
Is more friendly.
Yeah. And then because then it like calls that into question because I think Max Verstappen is just that bitch basically. Like the car's not what it was.
No.
So it's not a car thing.
And that's like, especially with Suzuka, that's like the big thing. It has literally nothing to do with your car or the speed of your car. Suzuka is a driver's track. It's basically like you're stepping into F2 when you step into Suzuka because the cars don't mean shit. They're equal about the driver. And I think Max Verstappen has yet again proven, whoa, this is going to be really controversial because people love Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen is the GOAT of F1.
Well, 100%. And that's the thing. I hate doing this. I need to not listen to them before we record, but I was listening to Red Flags podcast and they were saying like you want your GOAT to be beaten by the next guy who's going to be better than them. Because then if they suck later, then it's like, oh, well, my GOAT got beat by some guy who's kind of mid.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want Kimi to be better than Max. I want to be mad at Kimi for how good he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's better than Max, and Max is, like, our generation, like, this current generation that's, bless you?
Yeah.
Okay. That, like, this generation is going through. So, like, we want that to happen. And speaking of how much of a GOAT Max is for this, like, cohort of drivers, hello, lap time record at Suzuka.
Yeah. Smashed it.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Sorry, you froze for me for a second.
You froze too. I was like, oh. Anyway, Max Verstappen smashed it. Absolutely smashed the lap record.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that was so cool. Well, and he does it in a car that sucks.
Yeah, what, the 4th fastest car probably at the moment? And he was just like...
yeah, I was thinking about that, because it's absolutely McLaren, and then
Mercedes.
Probably Mercedes. But then I hate to say this because I'm a Ferrari fan, I don't know where Ferrari stands in comparison to Red Bull right now. That's the issue. But I think it might be more of a strategy Ferrari thing than a car thing.
Because look at, especially like Charles Leclerc in China. Why was a broken front wing faster than a non-broken fast wing? A front wing? Fast wing.
It was a fast wing. You're so right.
Fast. Did you see all the like George Russell memes where it was like one hand
up? No.
Like that?
That's so funny.
But like broken.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's actually really funny.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, but like definitely at least, yeah, I think it's the 4th fastest car. I think you're right. And to pull that out, like Lando should be there. So it's like he's got that like X factor, the like maybe he's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline, like he's born with it.
Definitely Maybelline. No, but that's what I can't remember if I was saying it to like you or Britt or Taylor. I was saying it to somebody. The matter of the fact is, it's going to be a McLaren championship battle this year. As good as Max is, we don't have an insane amount of tracks where the car won't matter. Yeah. So I think unless Red Bull can like get their heads out of their bum holes and figure it out, I don't think they have much hope. Definitely not constructors' hope because they can't even pick a second driver. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be a McLaren championship battle. I hate to say it. I honestly think as long as they keep this papaya rules logic going and they don't pick and choose favorites, I think Oscar has it. Because unpopular opinion again. Oh my God, I'm really pulling out the controversial things here. I'm taking Lance Stroll. I think Oscar Piastri is a better driver than Lando Norris. Okay. I love Oscar Piastri. Also, I was watching the race bit of it with my mom, or maybe qualifying or something, and it's the intro, and so she always goes through and she goes, he looks weird, he has a lazy eye, or something. She's like having opinions about all the drivers. Oh, I love her. And it pops up with Oscar Piastri, and she goes, oh, like everyone, she's like a yes or a no, or I like his hair, or what's his haircut doing. But Oscar comes up on the screen and she's like, I love him. Oh. She loves Oscar Piastri. Oh, Oscar Piastri's #1 fan. Let's get her back. Can we get her like garage passes, please, or something? Get her up in person with Oscar Piastri. I love that she actually just like comments on everyone. My mom watches the bloody intro and she goes, "Where's Fernando? Where is Fernando?" He looks old in the intro. He looks so old in the intro. He? I mean, he kind of does look. He's actually finally aging. And yeah, but I think like the intro. Oh, no, sorry? The aging's coming. I know, but the intro's not flattering. Like, I don't think he usually looks that... I think it's the hair. They did something to his hair, and I don't like it in the intro. Unpopular opinion, cannot stand the intro this year. Because I don't like it either. There's something about the cursive writing they've incorporated through the entirety of F1 this year. Like, even on, like, the garage signs, I don't like it. Oh, I know what you mean. And also, why did they put everybody in like team, and then they go, what is it? They go Liam Lawson, or when it was the beginning of the year, it was Liam Lawson in the Red Bull suit, both Ferraris, both McLarens, Max Verstappen.
I think it's constructors, and then Max just goes last because he's the championship.
I don't know.
I've been thinking about this a lot.
Oh no, Red Bull did finish behind Ferrari. Never mind.
Yeah, they were fourth in the constructors.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it is.
So I think, and then it's just, yeah, it's just because Max was the driver's championship.
Okay, got you. That makes a lot of sense. In my head, Ferrari was third, so that's why I was like,
yeah. No. Yes, 100%. I watched it. Like, I've been thinking about this for weeks, and I haven't been brave enough to say it out loud.
It's all I've had to do. Yeah, honestly, I think you've got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna, okay, after this episode, I am going to deep dive this intro. I'm gonna have the constructors ladder there, and I'm going to watch it very carefully, and I'm gonna check, and then I will add a little message here on the results. So we'll just all have to wait until Friday. Oh, it is Friday. We'll all just have to wait 6 hours to find out the results. You guys will find out.
Oh my god. But yeah, and I don't like the CGI aspect of, like, it used to just be a smooth cut to a different video, like, of someone else. And now it's like panning through CGI. And I understand the want to incorporate like a more technological side to it, but also I don't like it.
It reminds me of, you know, the Sky Sports intro where they're like robots being built up.
No!
Have you not seen it?
No!
Okay, hold on. Can I find this quick enough? Because otherwise I will send it to like the group chat or something, because it's terrible. It's absolutely traumatizing. The reflection.
Oh no, I don't like that.
And it's like,
I don't like that.
Over.
It's like the little alien inside Max Verstappen's head. Like,
they're like, you thought he couldn't be real? Guess what? He's not.
I know, nightmare material. Nightmare material.
Yeah.
He just like pops his head off. No.
Ooh, could you imagine? He like takes it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yoss was like, I sucked at F1 back in the day, but look, I'm good now.
Every time I see him on the camera, it's a jump scare. I'm like, ah.
I'm like, get away!
Shocking. Yeah. But okay, that takes us through qualifying. Liam Lawson barely got it. Anyways, the race that we were talking about. That takes us through qualifying. Carlos ended up getting a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Lewis because Lewis was on a flying lap, had to abort because Carlos was just like in the way. Which is so, I literally didn't put a ticket, but I was like, ooh, drama, because of the team swaps that they did, like the movements that they did. So I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he knew he was coming, but it is still like a spicy piece of information.
Yeah, I don't think it deserved a penalty. And like we all know, I'm not Carlos Sainz's biggest fan, but Lewis got through. Carlos didn't. Is that not penalty enough?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen someone be penalised, well, not in a while actually, if they didn't get through and the driver they impeded did. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, well, there's natural selection.
Yeah, well, and then speaking of Carlos Sainz getting penalties and fines, we were talking in the group chat today about how apparently Carlos Sainz had to pay, maybe I think it was 15,000 euro fine because he had to do a number 2.
Yeah, and these doctors wrote him a doctor's note to be like, he is unwell, and they're just like, meh, don't care.
Give me your poop money.
He pays 10,000 euros now, and then as long as he doesn't do it again or like have like another like late penalty by the end of the season, he doesn't have to pay the other 10,000 euros. But if
that's
he has like, if he
crazy,
has that on top of the new phone.
Oh my god! Like, I understand the value in respecting each country that's hosting the race, like giving them their time and respect. But like, I'm so sorry. If you have to go, you have to go. Like, that's just how it happens.
That would have delayed the race.
Yeah. No. I
just can't believe that. Like, I hope the GPDA gets onto this because, like, honestly, what
George Russell's gonna be the end of poop fines.
Yeah, they're like, actually, you now have no like autonomy over your bodily functions. Actually, we're gonna tell you.
Actually, very real.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's actually insane.
Yeah.
And like, I'm very much in the opinion of these blokes get paid millions of dollars to do what they love. They can follow a few rules.
Yeah.
Enough's enough, and that's actually insane. Like, that's insane.
For the bathroom, if it was like a sign of disrespect, like it's not like he was doing it on purpose.
Yeah. If he was like, oh, I just can't be bothered, or like he was just late for no reason.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's
Okay.
different. Like 100% understand like a reprimand for that. But yeah, it is kind of silly. And like part of me is also like, they have the money. Like it doesn't probably matter to them. It's like probably the same amount of like if I got a parking ticket or something. Like, okay, yeah, it's inconvenient, but I can pay it.
Yeah, literally. They probably literally wouldn't even notice the money come out of their bank account.
Which I'm like, then give it to me, maybe. Maybe give it to me next time.
Yeah. Actually, the more you think about it, the deeper you think.
I know. I'd be thinking. Clearly, I've been thinking about the intro for weeks.
I've been dwelling on this.
I know. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Race was interesting.
Yeah, it was fine. It was Oscar's birthday. Happy birthday, Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
We love you, Oscar Piastri.
We do. Love
you, it was Charles Leclerc's 150th start, which was also cool. And I think it was well, I don't think. I know it was Red Bull's last race with Honda's engine provider. So they were racing in the original Honda colors, which were very sexy. I very much liked it. It was confusing because then the V-carb is also white and so is the Haas. So you see like a glimpse of white or like in like the big tall like helicopter shots and it's just like a white car. And I'm like, I'm like, am I 50 and I need my readers? Like, who is that? Give me the subtitle.
The only thing helping was the little bit of yellow on the V-carb and the little bit of pink on the ass.
Loved that.
Couldn't tell that.
Loved the cherry blossom on the Haas though. Loved it. Beautiful. Incredible.
I forgot social media, so I don't think you would have seen this, but like on April Fool's Day, Steak posted a very funny April Fool's joke. And
I'm sure they're not good, so they get to be funny. No.
Steak livery.
That's so funny.
I would have actually loved
fast.
Yeah, yum. I love steak.
My God, that's hilarious.
I would have been a steak fan if they did that.
I mean, the joke itself is very funny. That is good.
They should have done it because like Japan, I think of like all the Wagyu and like the like prime cuts of steak and meat. You should have done it. That would have been insane.
A little bit of marbling.
Yeah. Hopefully the tires don't marble too bad.
Oh my God, I know, seriously. But yeah, actually speaking of steak, let's talk. I have a couple of notes on like all of the pit strategies and pit stops, but one of my notes in here was that Nico Hülkenberg's stop with steak was faster than Max Verstappen's stop with Red Bull. Nico had a 2.6 second stop. Max, when he had that little tiff with Lando, had a 3.3 second stop.
Wow,
it was a slow stop.
World.
Yeah, I like took notes on this because then Mercedes had a 3.1 second stop with Kimi. Yeah. And Ferrari, very proud. 2.2 seconds with Lewis. That's the only one that I took note on because I don't know if they showed us Charles' stop time.
But I feel like they missed out so many of the stop times. They would say the long form, like not the actual stop, but like when they're in pit lane. They kept showing
the 20-something seconds.
Yeah, but they didn't show the actual stop. And I was like,
this means nothing to me. Yeah.
I'm not here for the hot men. I'm here for the numbers. I want to see what it was.
Yeah. Show me the mini one. I want to know that. Yeah, 100%. So it was kind of crazy. I was like, because Steak was notorious for slow stops last season. Actually, that's probably all they did over the winter break.
Yeah.
Was practice their pit stops.
Actually, while we're on this topic of Steak, I need to bring up Mattia Binotto. What on earth has this man done, and why does he keep getting dumped by teams as team principal?
Because now it's Jonathan Wheatley from Red Bull, no?
And I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Huge. Actually, great for them.
What happened?
But I'm confused because I just saw, all I saw was like, oh, Jonathan Wheatley is now like in charge. I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
with, I in my head I was like, oh, like they can like co-lead or something. Like,
Hey!
I just like didn't put it together that like Mattia's not doing that. Like there can only be one, you know?
I literally, like, I've blocked Mattia out of my brain, I think, because,
Repressed.
oh, cool, like, they've got a team principal. And then I was like, we're in Australia already. Surely they would have had to have a team principal. Who was it? And then I remembered, and then I was like, oh my god, he's, like, not even had a race before he's been fucking kicked. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to read up on that.
I want to know the drama. I'm going to deep dive and be like, what
Yeah.
did this man do? Because, like,
I'm
fair
gonna
for
add that
him, but, like,
to the list.
he had the winter break with Steak. That's all he had. So, like, what did he do in that time?
Yeah, I don't know. I've just made a note to follow up on, to circle back, if you will. Sorry.
Circle back. Find out in next week's episode what happened to Mattia Benotto.
Oh my god, I love that. That was perfect. All right, so then for a boring race, it was all because it was all qualifying, right? So it was like, let's try and do an undercut or an overcut, which some people tried.
Tried to cut
there was
grass.
nothing really shook out, and there was some commentary on like, oh, like they were literally had nothing to talk about. Literally, because I listened to the F1 TV, so it's Julianne Palmer and Alex Jakes. So I actually I enjoy their commentary a lot because they have David Coulthard join them sometimes, and I love David Coulthard. Could listen to that man speak for the rest of my life. He has a beautiful accent. Yeah. But they were saying like, oh, like the front of the pack can't pit yet because the back half hasn't pitted yet, and so they would just come out into traffic and dirty air. And I'm like, I never really thought about it that way before, but also that means nothing's happening if this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
literally.
Yeah.
You know, when they go on to like a deep dive of like engineering and strategy, you know it's a bad race.
Yeah, you know it's boring. Yeah. And they did mention there was something interesting that I think Julianne Palmer called out, that they referenced a race way back where Romain Grosjean was driving for Lotus, and it was Webber and Vettel with Red Bull, and it was one Lotus out front, and Red Bull was 2-3, and they did like a pincer type of, they split the strategy to just let one of them try to get Grosjean out front, and it worked. So they were commenting that like McLaren should have committed to a more aggressive strategy and not just follow what Red Bull does. Because I think that McLaren is so used to reacting, and in terms of trying to fight, like punch up, that now they don't realize that they are the ones kind of being punched up to, and are kind of like getting the rug pulled out from under them whenever they're not winning. Yeah.
And it makes me question, what point should they have let Oscar pass Lando? Because
exactly.
The facts, Oscar was faster. Mm-hmm. Oscar would have nearly caught Max.
He was advocating for himself too, which I was so about that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it that they didn't let him at least try, because that was the other part of the commentary. They were saying, I love Julianne Palmer and Alex Jakes. Literally their commentary is so good, because they were saying like, you let him try, and then if you can't do it, you do a swap at the end. You give Lando back the spot that he qualified for. But you give Oscar the attempt, because then at least you're in first, and Max is that much further behind Lando, both in the Drivers' Championship, and you have that many more points in the Constructors.
Yeah, because yet again, Max is only 1 point behind.
Yeah. Which, like, I love Max Verstappen. So it felt like strategy kind of fell flat in general, but for McLaren specifically was like really lacking, because they have everything to do it, just the execution is not. And I think it's just because they're new at winning.
Yeah.
You know, what a wonderful problem to have. Like, I'm not sure how to win as good as I can yet, but I have it in me. Like, that's great. But it's hard to watch them squander that.
Especially at a track like Suzuka, where we've just said, like, you know, the car is not so much of like the like determining factor, but the driver. When Lando is not Lando, what's his name? Oscar is showing so much more pace in that same car. My brain is just broken. Like, this is where strategy really needs to be like on point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they should have, and it's like Hungary. They did the swap back with Lando. Like, they can see it. They can do it. The fucking boys can figure it out. they should have given him that opportunity because, like you said, worst case scenario, he can't catch him. You swap back. It's not that deep.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I've just realized I feel is that I know for a fact that Oscar is a future world drivers champion, and I don't know if I feel that way about Lando.
No. And like it's gonna sound really mean, but like I feel like if he does manage to do it, it'll be this year by default because Red Bull's slow and
Yeah.
because David over Oscar, who really could actually earn that championship. And that sounds so bad, I know, but like
Yeah. It's just tricky. It's just tricky, because like as much as things are performance based, it's also strategy based. As much as things are strategy based, it's also performance. Like if it's not one thing, then it's the other, and that's always going to be the fact of like it's never going to be both. Both are never going to be good. Something's always going to happen.
And if it's not performance or strategy based, it's Max Verstappen.
Yeah, well, and that kind of leads me into Max and Lando exiting the pits. This was like the one thing that happened in the race. I was so mad. I went to a bar and watched it with my friend Jack. Shout out Jack. Jack, who gets a shout out like every other episode. And we were sitting there and we're yelling in the middle of everybody else yelling. Some people are yelling, no, Lando should have been. And I'm like, you're wrong. I mean, obviously I wasn't yelling at people saying that. But I was just like, that was so Max was so ahead. And Lando ran himself into the grass.
I don't know whether the F1 TV coverage went the same, but on KO we've got like the Sky Sports coverage.
Yeah.
And they were following like Charles Leclerc into his pit box, and you could see in the back corner that something was about to happen, and you could see Max was just ahead, but it looked like they were going to hit each other. And as soon as they're like, oh look, like what's about to happen, they switch it right into Charles' box, and you couldn't see what the outcome was. For all I know, they could have hit each other. And then all of a sudden they do the replay again, where you can brutally see Max was like half a car ahead. I don't know whether Lando just did it to make the race a bit interesting and just to have a bit of a laugh, or like whether he genuinely thought he had like.
I think because when they were racing, they were just over a second apart. Because I remember thinking that Max needs to keep Lando out of DRS, and he was doing that. He was keeping him just over a second, and then when they pit, Max has that pretty slow stop of 3.3, and I think Lando's was, I don't know if I wrote it down, but Lando had like a 2.6. So it was just under a second. And it was just literally the length of the car that Max was ahead that was the difference in time that they neutralized out in the stops.
Yeah.
But he was still that tiny bit ahead. And I'm like, you first of all, what are you trying to overtake in the freaking pit lane? There's a speed limit. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
So that was like
lane pit exit line as well and everything. Like, I was literally sitting there going, what on earth?
It was hard to hear him when like, especially as the audience on the broadcast, like seeing like, oh no, Max is like clearly ahead. Max knew he was ahead. GP was like, we'll handle it, baby girl. Don't worry. You do your thing.
Don't stress.
Yeah. So they were like, obviously Max was ahead, but Lando maintaining, I think it was not just once, but twice over the radio that he was like, he forced me off. And everyone's just like, I am so sorry. He was following the white line.
Yeah, we're like, babe, are we watching the same like incident? Like,
yeah, and I know that the perspective is so different from inside the car because you've got like blinders up to here, and then you've got the halo, which like, is its own thing and is necessary, but like is still like a blind spot. But you could still see. I mean, I don't know. So I think he was a little delusional, a little delulu, as the kids say, for that one.
Surely he could have seen Max's helmet's over there and my helmet's here. He's in front. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, surely there was some indicator that he was actually behind.
Or the wheels, like something. So, yeah, it was crazy because then what's his name? Is his engineer William Joseph, the guy with two first names? I think it is. But Lando's engineer radios into him and is like, no, there's no further action. Like, Max is ahead. He retains the place. You're going to have to pass him on track. We have the car to do it. Basically, like, pep talk. And I think Lando didn't respond for the little, like, radio blip. But then I think in the commentary they said, oh, he, like, didn't actually say anything at all back to that. Like, no copy, no yes, chef, like, no confirmation. He was just, like, doing. So, I don't know. That was, like, the one thing that happened during the race, really, though.
Yeah. McLaren's a funny thing as a whole, though. I don't know whether, because obviously you're not on social media now, I don't know whether you would have seen it, but It was, I think it was in China. When in the cool down room they were throwing the hats at each other going multi 21 sib.
Wait,
And, like,
yeah. I'm still confused about that.
Well, people were saying that McLaren, and I highly doubt it is true. I'm sure someone just made it up, but it's hilarious, so I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
That McLaren apparently made them watch old teammate rivalries to make sure they didn't turn out like that, and that's why they had all the random rivalry quotes going.
Oh my god.
But the odds are pointing towards it, and that is hilarious.
That is funny. That is, well, yeah, because I thought it was kind of random because I was like, I didn't think it was like that. I thought that was the opposite because didn't they listen to team orders?
Yeah.
Because like the good one was not.
And Lewis, which was wild, we all know. Yeah. And then the multi 21 was obviously very aggressive. And I think Lando said that to the wrong person, considering Mark Webber is literally
I know. I was like, what? That's why I was so confused. I was like, this does not seem like self-preservation type of conversation right now.
Yeah. So I'm like, is he like subtly taking a dig, like, while trying to make it sound funny, but being like, you should have given me that spot even though I didn't earn it?
Yeah, I think it was kind of whack. But speaking of then cool down rooms, the Japan cool down room, Oscar was so funny. They show the race highlights and he's like, oh, that's it. Linda's like, yeah, nothing happened.
Us too, baby boy. Us too.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. No, because that was actually, and that's what I was saying to Mum, because Mum doesn't always watch Grand Prix with me, especially because most of them for Australia.
Yeah.
7 p.m. and 4 a.m.
We're running out of the good ones.
We've only got Singapore is okay, Baku is okay, and then Vegas. It's like 5 p.m. for us. It's beautiful.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but it's so good. But my brain's not braining. What was I trying to say? What was I talking about?
I don't remember either.
Oh, my mum was watching it, and even she was like, that's boring, and I was like, yeah, this isn't normal for Suzuka. And like, especially when that like the start was clean, I was terrified.
Oh, and that was the other thing I wrote.
I was so scared.
Yeah, well, because you see them line up after formation, and it's Max aiming at Lando and Lando aiming at Max, and it's like I see you, I like your name's on my list. You're like, I have like your name in my book. I'm coming for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then it was just like, well, then Max just did the start like Max does, which is really well, and then Lando did the start like Lando does, which is pretty good. You know, knowing that Lando can kind of, you know, blunder the starts and like really just fumble them.
Yeah. And like, I don't remember off the top of my head, I could be really wrong, but I don't remember the last time there was a clean start in Suzuka. Like last year was so bad.
Yeah. No, that's all they were saying. The commentators were like, I don't think I've ever seen a first lap that was that. I think we saw Alonso versus Gasly a little bit. Yeah,
but like, they were like, I think they lightly touched like a front to a rear wheel.
Yeah, they like got close. Fact. That was it. No, that was literally it. That was all that happened.
That was actually, you know what? I forgot about that. I blocked that out because that was really scary because Mum's favorite driver is Alonso. Mine's Gasly. That was a scary time for the Purse House household. Like, we could have actually just disowned each other real quick.
Oh my god.
I think we were screaming like, Alonso, get away. Like, stop it. Stop it. Naughty. Like, when you're like,
so funny.
Trying to like dig a hole and you're like, get away, naughty, get out. That's what I felt like with Alonso. Like, stay away. Bit of room, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but then outside of that, it was kind of a quiet race. I mean, we had, a bunch of people. The chicane was kind of tricky, I guess, for people because it got Kimi twice, it got Carlos twice, it got Yuki, and it got George.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I don't know. I wrote that down. And then Alex Albon had a crazy aggro radio message.
Oh my god.
I'm happy that he's driving better, but I'm wondering where it's been this whole time. Like, why is it randomly happening now? And Britt and I talk about this a lot of like, it's probably car improvement. It's probably pressure from having Carlos on the team. Yeah. But like, it just feels like so sudden.
Yeah.
You know, not a bad thing.
In a group chat the other day because everyone was like, why does he think he's got the right to speak to them like that? I'm like, one, he's probably feeling that pressure from Carlos, and they're like, but Carlos isn't even performing. I'm like, I'm not talking about Carlos performing well. I'm talking about James Vowles' love for Carlos. That's going to be intimidating. And then second of all, clearly something has happened with the team. Otherwise, why would Alex Albon be speaking like that? Do you know what I mean? Something has pushed him to his wit's end. Otherwise, why would he be snapping? I don't see him as the type of guy to just abuse them over nothing.
No, and I think, I think he's just, I don't know what's happening. I will figure it out. We'll figure it out with time. I don't know.
Next episode, deep dive of F1's issues.
That would be that's a whole series in and of itself.
We honestly could.
Yeah.
That's so bad, but so good.
But yeah. The only other thing I have is that Kimi Antonelli was the youngest race leader. He took the title from Max by but it's by a handful of days.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's something like days. So he was, I think, the youngest ever to have a fastest lap and the youngest to ever lead a race, which obviously he ended up, in his position that he basically qualified for, which is still really good. I think I was very skeptical of Kimi coming in. I know last season I was pretty vocal, and I will eat my words. I think I'm wrong. I think he has it in him to be the next one. But I also think
I'm a Mercedes fan now because
I also think Isaac Hadjar has it in him to be the next one. I think they need time to mature and develop, and I'm so invested in seeing how that goes on. But yeah, that's literally the race. It was so quiet.
Yeah. And you know what? Good on Kimi Antonelli because I mean, Japan was his last opportunity to be the youngest race winner, but it's fine. Regardless, he's got how many F1 records after his 3rd race in F1?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think Toto's gamble there is paying off, at least so far, with what we've seen.
And especially if the Mercedes gets better. It worries me a little bit. We all know I'm a GR fan now. Out of contract after this season. And I do worry whether, not even necessarily that Mercedes is going to want to get rid of him, but I do worry, what if he wants to go because, the pressure of Kimi?
Yeah, well, and it's scary because then it's is he Mercedes' Daniel Ricciardo?
Yeah.
For Max.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Oh my God.
It was now, but George Russell was in talks. Maybe it was with Red Bull, actually. I can't remember. In Australia, and that George Russell was seen speaking. I'm sure it was Helmut Marko and Christian or something.
Well, and I know that Jos Verstappen was seen speaking with Mercedes, I believe, early in the season, or maybe around testing. Yeah.
But there's also people wondering whether Max will go to Aston Martin, which for a lot of people sounds insane. But hear me out. I think he very well could because Adrian Newey went.
Yeah.
And apparently Honda is now going to have a hefty say in who gets those seats. So I wonder if Honda is going to say, get rid of Lance and we want Alonso and Max.
That would be kind of insane and also a little terrifying. I feel like I'd be afraid. Having Alonso and Max on the same team.
Would be
hello.
Alonso again.
Yeah.
But could Max do well? Because clearly him and Adrian can develop a car together.
Yeah.
But also, the Red Bull's shit and he's still winning. And he's still on the podiums.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so interesting, too, because then it's if they do boot Lance, is that going to affect Lawrence Stroll's level of investment in the team? I am so interested. I would love to know the inside scoop on, how they actually feel. Not, the media-trained response. Not, the, I have my theories, and I'm a Lance Stroll truther, but I have my theories about, maybe he's just doing it for fun. Maybe his heart's not in it. Maybe it is, and this is just his performance. Because wasn't he last? I'm pretty sure he was last in Japan.
I think so. But I feel like he had an issue. I can't remember what happened. But, in China and Australia, he didn't do that bad. He was in the points for both, I think.
No, yeah. I had Alonso on my fantasy teams, and he was the one who was dropping the ball because, he had car issues and DNFs and stuff, but...
I can't believe Alonso finished in Japan.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know what's more embarrassing. We all know Sof and I love Logan Sargent, But is it more embarrassing that Logan Sargent was 23rd in the 20 driver championship? Or is it more embarrassing that Fernando Alonso until Japan wasn't on the ladder board?
Yeah, didn't have any points.
There was only 19 drivers on the leaderboard. Alonso wasn't even in there because he didn't finish races. Like, even people who didn't have points but actually finished a race were on there. But because he didn't finish, there was no P20. There was just 1 to 19 and no Alonso. I think that may be more embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just would love to be a fly on the wall in the Aston Martin machine of just like what goes on.
Yeah. I fully think, like, what if, like, obviously it's not going to happen because now Alpine has Colapinto, but what if Stroll went back to Renault and went back to Alpine? Because then it's still kind of a French lineup because he's like French Canadian.
Yeah.
And like he did well there.
So interesting.
You know what I mean? He
did good. And it's like because Lawrence Stroll is still like actively part of Aston. Like that would be fascinating to me.
Is that what's throwing Lance off as well though? Because like he's never been that bad of a driver. So is he just trying to piss his dad off? Maybe like there's some like deep family issues and like Lance is like, I love F1, but I hate my dad, so I want his team to do really bad. So I'm going to do really bad. So the team's shit. Like, it could literally be anything. I'm with you. Let's find a scientist.
I know. I don't know. It's just, that's always been so interesting to me. And I know, because I know so many people are like, oh, well, Lance is a Nepo baby. Who isn't? They're all Nepo babies, except for like Esteban Ocon and Liam Lawson.
Yeah.
Everyone else comes from wealth, basically. So, I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean...
It wasn't fascinating. It was boring.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Ahead of Bahrain, I think it'll be really interesting because that's where they did testing. Like, a lot of them have had a lot of time there, and it's more, like, passable. Because that's one thing I was thinking about of, like, I'm excited for the 26 regulations because the cars will be narrower and maybe races like Suzuka will become more racy because there's like just more track for the car because the car's narrower, you know?
What if we start seeing overtaking Monaco? Because like F2 and F3, they can like somewhat overtake in Monaco.
Yeah. Didn't Kimi Antonelli do that last year in like the one of the hairpin switchbacks?
Yeah, I think he did something stupid in Monaco. Like, not bad, stupid, but like...
No, but it was like on Ollie, like on his teammate. It was something like that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be... And you know what? I always say it. I love but I hate the new regulations because it's always the year before this year and we're seeing it again. Everybody gets closer together. The cars are all closer and the racing gets good. And then the new regulations comes and... one team, Adrian Newey, somehow understands them and they figure out how to make a perfect car out of it. Yeah. So are we going to see Aston Martin domination from 2026 until...
I would love to have a reason to buy Aston merch. Well, I mean, I always have a reason to buy Aston merch because I like the colors.
Actually, I have a really pretty Alonso Aston Martin like sweatshirt jumper. I don't know what you guys call them. I think you call them sweatshirts, like without the hood.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's like it cost me way more money than I wanted to.
Oh my god.
But I love it.
An exorbitant amount of money. The one merch I'll have to walk back, I was looking at Oscar Piastri's merch. The green and yellow from Australia this year, I don't love it. However, there's a Texas shirt in there. It hits. I like that shirt. So Oscar Piastri, don't know if you heard us, but thank you for the good merch.
Yeah. I actually, going into Melbourne, I was like, I am going to buy the socks and the like lounge shorts from his collection. And then I walked up to the stand and I looked at them and I was like, ugh! Like the socks were okay, but I'm not paying $30 for a pair of socks. Ugh. But the shorts, so long. They would have been below my knees, I think.
Hello, Adam Sandler. What?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't think I can pull it off. Some people definitely could. I can't.
Yeah, it's definitely a look, but yeah, I'm looking at some of the merch now. Some of it actually really hits. Okay, and this hoodie's only $60.
Oh,
Oscar Piastri, you're spoiling me.
Okay, maybe I'm gonna go into Oscar Piastri's merch website after.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do after we wrap this episode. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. That was the race.
Yeah.
We'll catch
Sorry,
you for
guys.
Bahrain.
Boring, but see you in Bahrain. Like,
Yeah.
I have. Please, Bahrain, please be good.
Be
Oh my
good.
god,
Yeah.
let's bring back like a Max Verstappen Charles Leclerc rivalry, but like on him and Lando, and like make it like, what year was it? 2020, 2022, 2022, when they crashed each other out, and they were like really not friends then, and they're like, I'm gonna save them in my phone to send to you. You're gonna love it.
Okay, please do.
I love it. Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you all for the next episode.
Yeah.
Bye.